Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'd like to ask the Minister the level of financial support his department will be providing to Rosslare Europort to initiate the various studies needed to support an application for Rosslare as a service port for the wind energy sector off the east coast of Ireland, and when this financial support will be forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Deputy. So the primary function of our state ports is to facilitate maritime transport, which is the most important means of connecting Ireland to international markets, accounting for more than 90% of Ireland's international trade in volume terms. At the same time, it's recognised that there is a pressing need for Ireland to have the port capacity in place to exploit the opportunities presented by offshore renewable energy, with the programme for government targeting a capacity of 5 gigawatts of offshore wind energy by 2030. Minister Ryan met with Éireann on the 1st of December 2020, at which they outlined the potential for Rosslare Port to serve the emerging offshore wind sector in Ireland and the scale of the investment in infrastructure needed, depending on a number of options. Rosslare is unique among the state-owned ports, as it is not a commercial company operating under the Harbours Act, but it is instead on a commercial basis as a division of Éireann with all investment funded from port revenues. This is similar to other ports in Ireland which receive no exchequer funding and must fund all their infrastructure developments through their own resources, borrowing or through EU grant funding. Some of these ports are also examining the business potential of offshore renewable energy. At my request, officials have commenced an assessment of options for the facilitation of offshore renewable energy by the ports, including possible funding under the European Recovery and Resilience Facility. However, it was decided that this would not be one of the projects going forward to Europe as part of Ireland's National Recovery and Resilience Plan, due to prioritisation of other more mature projects that are in line with EU timelines to maximise Ireland's overall funding. My department is continuing to explore whether there is any other funding available to assist with the provision of offshore renewable energy facilities at ports. In particular, officials are currently engaging with the EU Commission, seeking changes to the CEF criteria to allow EU funding of port infrastructure for offshore renewable energy in the next 2021 to 2023 funding stream, and also in an effort to influence the next 10T regulations so that green infrastructure projects will be included.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, with all due respect, it was Minister Ryan that was on South East Radio on the 28th of January, in which case he said he understood that there was a much-needed urgent investment required for Rosslare. He actually gave an assurance on radio to the Wexford people and to the country, because Rosslare is of national importance. In that understanding, he said that there was going to be significant investment in Rosslare Europort because it's strategically critical for the country, and potentially it will be of benefit to the region to have the economic centre and activity. Now, with that understanding and given that assurance, what I can't understand is that if it's an urgent investment requirement, why we haven't seen the money and why we don't have confirmation of the investment. It has an increase in traffic of over 500%. We know it's Ireland's most strategic piece of infrastructure. We know that the investment has to come. I'm asking for confirmation of when that will be.
Thank you, Deputy. Tara.
Thank you, Deputy. I agree in relation to the importance of offshore renewable energy, and Minister Ryan is here, and I can attest to his passion and commitment to ensuring that this is rolled out. But just to say that any funding provided to ports could only be a contribution towards the cost and would have to be in compliance with state aid rules. It's envisaged that this would require a competition, and it would then be up to the ports to apply for any funding that might become available after preparation of a comprehensive business case. And in this context, ports would have to engage directly with industry on specific requirements and investment costs. And just to say as well that my department is also meeting with other ports and administrations to establish best practice in this regard in Europe, and looking how other countries have done this, and a cross-departmental engagement between transport, environment, climate and communications and housing, local government and heritage is ongoing, in addition to direct engagement with the offshore renewable energy sector and other relevant stakeholders to explore the mechanisms of investment required for this infrastructure.
Thank you, Minister, and I appreciate the understanding you appear to have also. But the reality is, Carbon Trust has said that Rosslare Europort is the preferred port for an offshore wind farm construction base. There is no competition. It is the most strategic port. And with the knowledge and understanding that both ministers have, I'm a little dismayed to think that the potential in Rosslare may just be gone, because it is ultimately going to go to the UK. If we do not give the urgent attention and investment required for Rosslare, we are going to lose the potential of billions of euro being invested in the Irish economy because we fail to prepare the most strategic preferred port for the construction of wind farm base. I cannot understand that we're discussing here today the actual possibility that there might be a competition process. There is no competition. It is deemed to be the best port. I'm asking again, please confirm when the funding will be forthcoming.
Thank you, Deputy. And first of all, we have to identify funding streams, and that is what the Department is actively doing. So we are engaging with the European Commission seeking changes to the CEF criteria to allow EU funding of port infrastructure for offshore renewable energy in the next 2021 to 2023 funding stream, and also looking to influence the next 10T regulation so that green infrastructure projects could be included in that. So as a seaport of comprehensive network, on the comprehensive network, Rosslare is eligible to apply for European CEF funding for transport-related infrastructure. So that work is ongoing, Deputy, in the Department in relation to determining, identifying funding streams. And in relation to a competition, there is all ports are competing with one another. What we would encourage ports to do is to work together. Some ports have different strengths, different abilities, and that they would then have put together a business case. And yes, it would be a competition, and there would be state aid rules around that. But there's a lot of engagement happening within the department, with the industry as well, because it's really critical that we get the information from industry in relation to their needs, in relation to what they require in order to roll this out successfully for Ireland.